Before we dive into today's episode, I want to tell you a story about a woman who decided that real conversations deserved a home. Not a perfectly staged home, but a real one. A space where people could show up as they are, tell the truth, and feel seen while doing it. That woman is Lacretia Mitchell. Most people know her as a powerhouse real estate broker here in Oklahoma City, the woman who built Elam Realty Firm from the ground up with grit, faith, and a serious gift for turning possibilities into keys in someone's hand. But what a lot of people don't see is that she's also a mom and wife who somehow balances entrepreneurship with mentorship, client calls, content creation, and still finds energy to pour back into the community that raised her. Lacretia has used her platform, the Real Room podcast, to amplify voices that deserve the spotlight, to uplift stories that might have otherwise gone unheard, and to make sure that her community has a seat at the table. And when she's not closing deals or recording episodes, she's showing up for causes centered around social justice and equity across OKC. Not for praise, not for attention, but because that's who she is at her core. She's building a legacy that goes far beyond real estate and media, a legacy rooted in impact, intention, and service. And today, I have the honor of helping her tell that story. My name is Simone Taylor. I'm a former educator turned content creator, a wife, an entrepreneur, and a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Even more proudly, I'm Lacretia's line sister. So stepping into her chair today is more than just meaningful. It's personal. It's a privilege. So settle in, get comfortable, and welcome to a very special takeover episode of the Real Room podcast, where we're celebrating a woman who has created space for all of us, including myself. All right, you are in the hot seat today.
I am.
Are you a little nervous?
Actually, I am.
Yeah.
I don't know what
be
you're going to
nervous.
ask.
I feel like there are a lot of questions that people have about who Lacretia Mitchell is. And so today we're going to kind of do a deep dive and figure out, your origin story and how you came to be, the powerhouse that you are today. So don't be nervous. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. Lots of laughs.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
All right. So let's kind of get started into the questions.
Yes.
So let's go all the way back to childhood Lacretia, right?
Okay.
So what part of your upbringing taught you strength and what part taught you softness? Because I feel like there are two sides to you. So what would you consider that to be in your upbringing?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll be honest with you. I would have to say strength and softness is definitely exemplified within my parents.
Mm.
I can't say one had more of the other. I will say just the strength that I saw my dad carry just as a man, as the protector, and even my mom, like the strength that she had to have in certain situations throughout my childhood. And my dad worked several jobs, so just how she carried us when he was gone and everything. I mean, just that strength, it was just so powerful, and that's what stands out to me. And then the softness, I'll be honest with you, I say this all the time. My dad is an amazing man, and he truly taught me how to be loved. And my mom taught me how to be soft and to be that graceful woman, along with some other amazing people in my life, from aunts to grandmothers. But I would have to say it was my parents for sure, when far as strength and softness.
Was there ever a moment growing up where you felt like, wow, I am missing something? Because, a lot of people, when they become who they are as an adult, it's typically from something that they were missing as a child.
Yeah.
Is that something that you experienced? Is that something that you felt like you yearned for? And it was like, well, when I, get to be an adult or when I get to be a mom or a wife, I'm going to do things differently. Did you ever experience that?
Listen, me and my daddy go back and forth on this. He say he gave me light little whoopings. I say I used to get beat. Okay. Right?
He
He
said they
gonna
would
get
love
me. Yeah,
tabs.
yeah. He gonna get me for saying that. But no, I'm not gonna say I hate to sound like my life was perfect because it was from by far not perfect,
Mhm.
right? But my parents did a heck of a job making sure that me and my sister never wanted for anything. And then they never put value in things, if that makes sense. Like we
Yeah.
were always dressed to the T, hair comb, like all of the things, but we never felt like we had to have what others had or didn't have, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that makes
Like,
sense. That makes sense.
so I can't say that I ever necessarily wanted for anything, but when I talking about my dad and just, his strictness and, how he disciplined, um I just, I still understood in a weird way growing up, like it was necessary
Yeah.
that that's what he was supposed to do to try to get me on the right track. And so as I grew up, I was like, I'm never going to do that to my kids. I'm never going to whoop them or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be, because I know what it felt like when I was in that moment. And clearly, I mean, all the whoopings I had, it didn't work. I tell him there's a reason why I was a little bit different, a little bit rebellious, but it's paid off clearly.
Yeah.
And so I just, I would have to say I've never wanted for anything. And I, yeah, when it came to my kids, I knew I did not want to discipline them in that way. So just to
Yeah.
answer your questions, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go back to something that you said. You
Hmm.
said you were a little bit different, a little bit rebellious, but it clearly paid off.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question of when was the first time that you felt like you were a leader? Like what was that
Mm.
moment where you were like, okay, I have something special before all the titles? What was that defining moment for you?
It was at a young age.
Mm.
I could tell when I walked in rooms how I changed the temperature in the rooms at a young age. And it's weird to
Ooh.
say now, but I'm just being honest. Like if I go back and replay that, I could tell how when I came in the room, my family reacted or friends reacted. Like it was just kind of almost a okay, wait, she came in, and I'm not saying I'm trying to say this in the most humblest of ways, but it was at an early age, if I go back and look at it, like I realized that young, and I knew that I had that type of power. But the crazy thing is that even then, I was very insecure about that.
Mm.
Like I was insecure in myself and I didn't want all of that attention. It was just naturally given to me, right?
Because it's
And
in you, not on you.
come on,
It's
come
in you,
on.
not on you.
And so um I just, I knew it and I didn't like the attention and I still sometimes deal with that. But I'm realizing even now the impact and influence I have on people and when I step in rooms, and I'm finally okay with it. I'm finally able to say, okay, I am who I am and I cannot change that. And I'm grateful to have this type of impact and influence on
Yeah.
people's lives. But at the same time, I think there is a as someone who knows that there's a responsibility in carrying that and carrying it well and not abusing that type of power, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
that's good. That's good. And I feel like one of the ways that you have done that, obviously, is through building LM Realty Firm,
come on.
right? And
Yes.
you opening up so many doors, literally and figuratively for
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
right? So I want to kind of talk about that journey just a little bit, kind of break off a little bit from, who you were growing up. But what do you think? Because it seems like you were really tough growing up. Seems
Mhm.
like you had a very strong foundation. What was one of those hard lessons that you had to learn in becoming a broker and
Mm.
starting that? Because that's a whole different ball game that you're in, right?
Yeah.
You have to pivot a little bit.
Yeah. There's been a lot of shifts that I've had to make in the last 2 years. Shifts that have made me very uncomfortable, that have stretched me in ways that I can't even explain to people. But they've been necessary truly because I know where God is leading me to. I've already seen the vision, right? I've gotten a glimpse of where we're going. And so I know everything that I've gone through has definitely been necessary for me to be able to own that moment once we get there, right?
Yeah.
I will say this, probably one of the most difficult moments is lately. I've had people come and I've had people go. And some of the most recent, I've been at peace and okay with it because this is how God works in my life lately. He has been preparing my heart and my soul before it even happens. And so I kind of already know that something's about to happen, that something is shifting between that relationship. And so it's already prepared me for when it does happen so it doesn't hit as hard. And I'm grateful for that. I'm
Yeah.
grateful for the cushion in the blow, right? And so those in the past, they probably would have took me out,
Mhm.
but definitely over the last 2 years, I've gotten a little stronger when it comes to those things, and I'm grateful for it. And
Mhm.
so those shifts have definitely, they've hurt, but they've definitely made me a better leader. If
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Do you feel like there were any mental beliefs about yourself that you had to shift or change? Like, was
mm,
there anything you were like, okay, at my core, I feel like this part of me kind of has to leave, change, shift, die
mm,
for me to become who God has led me to be?
hmm.
Uh-oh.
I
We
don't
got
ever
her.
say, yeah,
We
y'all
got
got
her.
me. Done. I would probably say, hmm. And I say this all the time. This is why it's hard for me to say this out loud. But I would have to say the insecurity, like not believing in myself, like that this last few months, I've been like, girl, you tell people all the time, know who you are, knows
Mhm.
whose you are in order to know who you are. So get with the program and
Yeah.
start really like believing that yourself.
Walking
And
in
so
it.
walking in it. And
Mhm.
so the insecurity in wanting to appease and please other people, like I've had to let that go in order for me to be the leader that God has called me to be. I can't worry about what other people think. I got to be confident in what He's put in me and
Yes.
what He's placed inside of me and the work that He's doing through me. And in order to get to where it is He's calling me, I have to shift. And
Yeah.
so I will say, and my partner, she knows best. Like these last 2 months, I'm like, listen, 2026 it's going I got on their nerves this year, but I'm about to get on a whole lot
Prepare
more
to be
people.
sick of me. Prepare
Prepare
to be
to be
sick of
sick
me.
of me. Because and it's not like a thing of thinking that I'm better than, it's
Mhm.
knowing whose I am,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and there's
It
power in
and
that.
there's power in that. And when you know whose you are, you walk different, you talk different,
Yeah.
you move different, the alignment, everything is
Mhm.
just different.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've already seen a glimpse of what he's going to do. So there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that's going to stop me from reaching what I've seen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that, and I love just how, like, into the Lord's plan you are. Like,
Yeah.
the focus and the just the laser focus on what he has for you. I feel like we don't see that a lot.
Mhm.
Or people don't talk about it a lot. For
Right.
so for it to be on the forefront of what you're doing, I'm just like that's going to be a light to so many people. And I feel like you kind of hit on this a little bit, but I want you to elaborate a little bit more. So what made you believe that you, a Black woman in OKC,
Mhm.
could own and run a real estate firm and succeed in an industry that, let's be honest, is not built for people that look like us?
Yeah. Um as I've been subpoenaed and dealing with, like, I'm like, Lord, they coming for me. Listen, in April 2023, my partner now, Arlesia Ryle, shout out to her, I love her to death. We have been knowing each other for about 6 years now, as long as I've been in real estate, and she has been a blessing. And she said to me in April 2023, "You need to become a broker." And I said, "No, I'm not doing that. I don't want to manage people. I love selling real estate. That's the focus that I want because I knew or let me say knew, I heard of the responsibility that
Mhm.
a broker has to have,
Yeah.
like the weight and all of the responsibilities and the task, and I was like, I don't want to sit behind the desk. That's not what I want to do.
Mhm.
And in May of 2023, God dropped in my spirit, it's time to become a broker.
Mm.
And I said, no.
Not you telling the
Real
Lord
simple.
no.
Right, I did. I did. We got this kind of relationship. I'm like, Lord, you be taking me on these rides and I don't be wanting to go. And so we wrestled for a few weeks, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And of course he won, right?
Mhm.
But I knew the challenge in itself of what I would have to deal with to become a broker, just
Mhm.
not the classes, just not knowing. Like the reality is, there's no guide out there that really tells you, okay, this is what you need to be a broker. Now, there is, far as on the national side, but to actually make it work,
Yeah, it's kinda like you gotta roll up your
and
sleeves
all of the
and
things like
mhm.
here in Oklahoma, because what may work for somebody somewhere else may not work for me, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so it was trying to figure out things, and there were some people that gave some advice, but I still felt like I wasn't getting all of it,
Mhm.
right? And so I was like, okay, Lord, how are we going to do this thing? What is this going to look like? Because I don't know if I can do this. And so filed the papers in October 2023, and I still was kind of wrestling with it, to be honest with you, because I still didn't feel like it was all there. And I just remember just having a moment with God, and he was like, I've never brought you to nothing and left you, right?
Yeah.
I've never brought you
Oof.
to it and left you. So trust
Mhm.
me. And so I just really kind of focused in hard on him and just, what he was giving me. And I just started mapping it out and putting it into play. Even before that, I had already kind of put up the business plan and all of that, created all those things, but still like this was something that was new. And I told my
Mhm.
mom, she was saying she was coming over. I was telling her, no, stay where you at the brokerage you're
Mhm.
at. She was like, no, your daddy told me I gotta come, like all of these things. And so I was like, I don't want a whole bunch of people. I know that. Like I just wanted to be me and you. And at the time, my oldest daughter was gonna come and work the front desk. We had got a place over at Camps, 1910 Cafe, which we're still there. We
Mhm.
have two suites there upstairs. And so all these things were happening. I knew I wanted to be small. Like I wanted it to be small. So I had a mentee. She was an agent at the time. She came. So it was growing slowly. And so over time, we now are at 2 years just celebrated on Monday. We got 11 agents. Like I'm grateful.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful for the pace and the growth, because it's allowed me to really sit in it and learn a lot and be able to process what's going on, but also to prepare and get myself together, so that I'm able to handle the influx and what God is about to bring. And so
Yeah.
it's been an amazing roller coaster. I hope I answered your question. Y'all get to
You
talking, and
did, you did.
this is not, listen, I'm supposed to be asking the questions, not answering them.
But
Sorry.
you know what? You're doing a phenomenal job.
I
But I'm
appreciate
gonna
it.
press you just a little bit. I'm gonna
Yeah.
push you just a little bit. Now, I want you to get very real with us in this moment because I
Mm,
remember being at the grand opening
yeah.
of your realty firm and the amount of support that was there, the amount
Mm,
of people just gathered around you. I remember, we prayed over the success of your
mhm,
business. Like it was truly just a moment where you had to be there to feel the
mhm,
energy in the room. But even with that being said, there's a lot of weight that comes with that.
mm,
There's a lot of things that arise that you don't necessarily plan for.
mhm,
What was one of the scariest decisions that you had to make early on with your realty firm? And I mean like one of those decisions where you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna even tell anybody about this. Like
mm,
what was there ever a moment where you were like, I'm not sure about this, or I really am at a crossroads about this? Because I feel like we do see, the social media posts. We see you
mhm.
killing it all the time. But there are those moments as an owner, right? As a CEO that you have those crossroads that you have to make a decision.
There was a few, and I think the day of the grand opening, I had to let my mentee go.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
Sorry.
Take
That
your
one
time.
was hard for me, because you think about the energy and everything that you've poured into somebody, right?
Yeah.
And that was, kind of one of my first lessons of this is going to happen many more times,
Yeah.
right? And so that was probably the hardest part because the grand opening happens to fall on my birthday.
Mhm.
And that was really more of a not an ego thing, but a so I don't forget thing, right? And so I'm celebrating my birthday, I'm celebrating the grand opening, and now I gotta let my mentee go on the same day. And so that was one of the hardest things for me because dearly, dearly, dearly love this person. And I've watched this person grow for years. And I believe so much in this person. And I'm saying this in general, not
Mhm.
necessarily to the person, but you can believe as a leader, you can believe so much in somebody, but if they don't believe in themselves,
Mm. Yeah.
right?
You can't do
You
it all for
can't.
them. Mhm.
And so I truly believe at that point that that was probably one of the hardest things that I had to do, and then to go in through the night and try to celebrate,
Yeah.
when you want something so bad from somebody.
Mhm.
But I've had to have several of those moments throughout the last 2 years. And I would say that first one definitely strengthened me in a way and prepared me for the others, right?
Mhm.
And every time there's a lesson learned, there's a moment where I have to reflect and say, okay, what did I not do? Anything that happens within my businesses, from the podcast to real estate, I'm always looking at the very first thing. Okay, Lucretia, what is it that you didn't do? What could you have done, right?
That self-reflective
That's
process.
self-reflection, right? Because I want to get better. I
Mhm.
want to get better as a leader. I want to be all that God has called me to be. And so, how can I do that? And what do I need to adjust, right? And so, I'm grateful for that moment. But then another moment was, what people don't know is we was barely making it
Mhm.
those first couple of months.
Oh,
Heck, the
wow.
first year. Heck, let me be honest. Like, going into this second year, it was like, okay, now look, Lord, you didn't put me here.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't making no money from this. Now we
Mhm.
selling and doing all of the things. And so it's been a journey. And I'm grateful for it. And I know it's preparing me for so much, but those were some hard times.
Mhm.
And even, barely making it financially, I'm grateful now that things are looking up and changing. But what people don't understand is a lot of my money, my own personal money, my husband's personal money, heck, my daddy and my mama, like, we were having to pour into the brokerage.
Mhm.
And so it may look pretty on the outside, social media, but the reality is it's a lot on the back that you don't see. A lot of
Yeah.
tears cried, a lot of sleepless nights. These last 2 months have been very difficult for me, just because of the transitions and the adjustments and scaling our business, and growing our brokerage. It has been crazy. And so I barely have slept.
Mhm.
But I know it's going to be all worth it. So,
Yeah. I can tell that you are used to being the host because you're answering my questions before I get to them, but that's okay. That's okay. I do have a question about that though, because it's like, is that something that a lot of people romanticize about,
mm,
owning a brokerage and being a real estate agent? You see so many shows
yeah.
nowadays where they're talking about, oh, we're
Mm,
selling this, million dollar listing and this is the commission that I'm getting off of it. But do you feel like that's something that like media has romanticized and not really put enough focus on how much effort goes
yeah,
into it, because there is a lot of effort that goes into selling
man,
a home.
man. I'm just going to say, in any business, right? There's a lot of effort that goes into it. And a lot of people can, what'd you say, romanticize
Mhm.
what it looks like. You got all these shows out here about
Yeah.
real estate, and yes, it looks pretty, and yes, the commission is 120,000. Now,
Mhm.
mind you, this is in California, New York,
Mhm.
okay? Not not
We are in
necessarily in
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, okay? Prices are a little bit different. Now, granted, there are some, it do look pretty. And we can get that here. But it's definitely a little bit different. And yes, I do think people romanticize. Sometimes I've been guilty of that, but what I always want to do is, and it's no pun intended, be real
Mhm.
about everything that I do and go through. If anybody comes to me, and I say this all the time to anybody that comes and asks about getting into real estate, I say, listen, this is the reality. We got to pay this. We got to pay this. I just lost $5,000 on a listing for marketing and things like that. And I no longer have that listing, nor did I sell it.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying? So these are
Yeah.
the things that people don't understand that goes into the back end. And I don't half do nothing. I don't ever want to just throw something out there. So there is always even more effort and over and beyond that I do. And so it's a lot of work and it's a lot of sleepless nights. Like I said, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning. I hit the ground running,
Mhm.
right? And most mornings I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's me and God time, but then I'm at that office as soon as I drop my daughter off. And then I'm going. Like I'm going. And most of the time I'm done with most of my tasks by 10 o'clock in the morning. And then it's on to doing whatever else I need to do. And
Yeah.
so, but it doesn't stop for me
Mhm.
because I do have the real estate business. I do have the podcast. I do have other ventures and things that I'm doing. I'm not going to say that, but it's just, I have a lot going on. And so it's a lot of effort that goes into it that a lot of people don't see. And so what you see on social media, what you see on TV, just know that it's a highlight reel.
Yeah, that's good. It's definitely a
Yeah.
highlight reel. It makes me think about like when you're driving and the mirrors say, objects in the mirror are
Yep.
closer than they appear. Like it's kind of like that, like things that are happening, like you don't even necessarily see what's going on behind the
Mm,
scenes. But I appreciate you being very like candid about it, of like,
yeah.
no, this is the reality of what's going
Yep.
on. It looks pretty, it looks glamorous. Again, sometimes we can romanticize it, but there's a lot of stuff that happens that people are not even aware of, that can change the trajectory of a business,
Mhm.
right? So I feel like initially when I began kind of like following your real estate journey,
Mm.
I really, really, really enjoyed seeing the difference that you were making, in
Mhm.
people of color, right? And giving them the ability to be able to be homeowners, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. Was there ever a time that you closed the deal where you were like, this secretly healed me? Like this
Mm.
secretly did something for my soul, more than just like a transaction.
Most definitely. I'll be honest with you. Most of my transactions are like that, because I treat every transaction like it's the first,
Mm,
right? I don't ever want to get complacent and think that this is supposed to come because the
yeah.
reality is there's a million other agents out there and don't nobody got to use me.
Hmm.
Okay. Let me just keep it real. And so when people choose to allow me to serve them in this way, I'm grateful every time. And
Yeah.
I'm going to treat it like the first. Now, have I dropped the ball? Most definitely. Right?
Hmm.
Have I messed up? Most definitely. Right? But if I had to answer that question, it's one couple in particular. I'm not going to share their names because I
Hmm.
am big on confidentiality. Some of the people that I work with don't even know, they friends
Hmm.
don't even know I'm working with them, and we all friends anyway. And so I'm very, I want to make sure that I don't share their name on
Yeah.
that. So I'm gonna try to, because I'll start talking in there. And so it was an older couple. They were in their 60s, had kids, grandkids, and they ended up coming to me because I forgot if they were referred. I think they just saw something and they called me. And they were working with another agent at the time, and they just said, "We just want somebody that will work with us because we're not approved for a whole lot."
Mm,
Right? And so I'm like, "Oh, most definitely. Like, that doesn't matter to me. I'm
yeah.
going to do everything I can to try to find you a home." And so probably for about, I would say, a month, we were looking and looking and looking, and we finally found a home for them. And it was built in like the 2000s, so it was
Okay.
like
Yeah.
nothing that they would really have to worry about far as it being an older home or anything
Hmm.
like that. And so I remember the entire process, the husband just kept saying, "You don't understand." He would send me messages, "You don't understand." Now, granted, anytime it's a spouse, a couple,
Mhm.
I'm putting them in a group text. So we all in a group text together. Just FYI. And he said, "You don't understand what this means to me. I thought I would never be a homeowner. I thought this would never be possible for me." And we're talking about a couple that's in their 60s, grandkids, everything like that. And he thought it would never be possible. And so I just remember
Wow.
when we closed, them crying, them hugging me, and just being so grateful for being able to become a homeowner. And so I just say to anybody out there, it don't matter what your age is, anything is
Mm,
possible. Continue to dream, continue to see, keep going. Anything is possible.
yeah. So that touches my heart, and it makes me think back to like similar situations that I've had in my life where it's like, oh, I feel like I'm never going to be able to do this. And there's always this like running clock that society
Mhm.
tells us, like, you
Yeah,
got to do it before 30, then
yeah,
you got to do it
yeah,
before 40, then, oh, don't wait until 50. Like,
yeah.
there's always something that society is telling us we have to do before.
Mhm.
And there's this rush. But really, like, when you're on God's timing, anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. And so the lessons that you're learning through real estate, have you found that any of those transcend into the lessons that you now teach your daughters?
Mm.
Do you feel like any of that has kind of bled over into like, okay, I see this from a different lens. Like how has that affected your motherhood since you've come into real estate?
I'll be honest with you, my girls know, like, I'm never gonna stop. Like, they they know my worth ethic is a little bit different, right? Um, what I've learned from everything, just life in general and just working, I try to make sure that um I'm never demanding or what's the word I'm looking for, or pushing my agenda on them, right?
Mhm.
I always want to make sure that they are free to live the life that they desire, because I remember kind of like what you're saying, oh, at this age, you need to do this. And, you need to make sure you go to college, or the military. Like,
Mhm.
there was all these things that I was supposed to do at this age. And I was, again, that wasn't for me. That wasn't
Mhm.
my life. That wasn't the path that God had for me. And so I just always want to make sure that my girls know that no matter what, do what you desire to do and live the life that you feel like you want to live,
Mhm.
right? We've done all that we can. Our girls are older now, so 22, 19, and then I say older, but 14. And they get to see that through me, you never gonna have an excuse not to do.
Mhm.
Cause I don't care if I'm 80, I'm still gonna be
Yeah.
grinding, right? And um, so I hope that I'm living the life that gives them a good example of what it's like to not make excuses and to keep going regardless of what you've been through. So I
Yeah.
hope that answers your
It
question.
it does. Do
Yeah.
you feel like becoming a mom in any sense, like I know it's challenging to be a parent,
Hmm.
right? But do you feel like it has softened you in any ways? Because we've been talking about like the grit, right? The perseverance. You gotta get it. But do you feel like there are those moments that it has kind of softened you?
Listen, I'm a crybaby in general, okay? So what y'all don't see, well, you may see a lot, you may see it. I do cry quite a bit, I feel like, on the podcast more than my guests, but I've never been like, this soft mom, I don't think. Like,
Mhm.
I love you, go do what you gotta do. Like, I'm a little bit different, right? I'm
Okay.
not the mom that's going, oh, let me go make you some soup, and that's more my husband
Yeah.
style, okay? I've never been like that. And so, far as softness, like, of course I love my girls, and of course I love on them, and hugs and kisses and all of the things. But I that's just not something that I am, far as when we say softness, right?
Mhm.
But what they do know is that I love them dearly and I would do anything for them. And if they go out there and make a mistake, mess up, I got they back. Let's
Yeah.
figure it out. let's, do what we need to do and let's get back on course. So,
Yeah. Do you feel like there's been a moment where you had to choose between career ambitions and
mm,
your life as a wife and mom,
oh yeah.
where you've had to sacrifice? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Mm, so I'll just take you all the way back. I
Mhm.
remember getting pregnant with my first daughter, and that was not the path that I wanted. I was not having kids. I wasn't doing any of
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah. Now listen, when you do things to have kids, you're gonna have kids. I had just applied to attend Texas Southern to go to Texas Southern. This was probably about a year after I had graduated high school. And so I had I finally figured out what I wanted to do, right? And I got real sick, and one of my friends at the time, she took me to the hospital, rushed me to the hospital, found out I was pregnant. And I was like, okay, here we are.
Mhm.
you know, what are we going to do? And so I had to adjust then, right?
Right.
What I had planned was not what God had planned.
Mhm.
I needed that because it really changed. I don't know. Listen, if I would have got down there, I probably would have showed out. Listen, it would have been a whole mess down there. Because I was ready.
Mhm.
Okay. And so it changed my life, so much so that I ended up, saying, okay, I'm just gonna work, do what I need to do. And at the time, if I can be honest, I lost a lot. Like I became even more insecure about who I was in that moment. I was ashamed because I was not married. I was having this baby out of wedlock at all the things
Mhm.
churchy, right? And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And so I had to change my plans and become the mother that my daughter needed at the time. So I was working full time, going to school full time, ended up getting married. That was a whole nother story. And so I adjusted because I had to work, go to school, do all of things,
Yeah.
went through a divorce, had to work, go to school full time. And so everything that I've done, it's been sacrifices to make a better life for my kids. I do remember when after my divorce and then me and my husband now got married, I couldn't find a job. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna try, being an at-home mom. That lasted for a few months and that was horrible. I was like, this is
Not
not
for
my
you.
life.
Not for you.
I can't do this. I gotta work. And so there have been a lot of no's that I've had to say, far as job opportunities, other opportunities, because I had to focus on my kids at the time, especially with them being younger.
Mhm.
But now I'm in a season where, I get to dictate and choose what I want to do because my kids are older now. I can say yes if I want to, and I can say no if I don't,
You have that
right?
freedom.
And so I have that freedom. But yes, there's been a lot of sacrifices that I've had to make and adjustments and changes based off of my kids, but I don't regret it. That's the time that they needed. That's the time that they needed their mother, and I'm grateful for those moments for sure.
Yeah. What do you feel makes you feel most seen and heard as a
Mhm.
mom and wife? I know that's something
Listen,
because typically in those roles you're so selfless,
yeah,
right? You're just pouring into
yeah.
others. But what is it that's like, okay, this right here is like what does it for me?
It's a simple bringing me my favorite coffee.
The little things.
It's the little things for me, right? It's the, "Oh, mama, this food was good," or "Thank you for cooking." I don't need the big hoopla. Like, my birthday was this past
Mhm.
week, and, I was just like, "Just give me a cinnamon roll and I'm good,"
I know
and
we were talking and you're like, "Yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna get out of the house."
uh,
And I'm like,
yeah,
"What?"
I'm good with, like, I've had my time like, I was in the club from Sunday to Sunday. I've had my time, okay? I've been there, done that. And so now it's just really it's that soft girl era for me. Like,
Yeah.
I wanna make an impact and an influence that people will be able to, look at and say, "Okay, if she did it, I can too."
Mm.
And be able to give them the blueprint to do it,
Yeah,
and
that's
them
good.
take that blueprint and be able to customize it to how it works for them. That's where I'm at right now in my life, and just to be able to spend more time with my family and to love on them. I'm in a space right now where it's about building up others to be amazing leaders. And if I've done that, then I've done what I'm supposed to do on this earth and I'll be good with that. And
Mm,
then I know for sure I'll hear him say, well done.
yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah. So, in doing all of that, what role has your husband played in
Mm,
supporting you through this process? I know we talked about it a little bit before we started, but like
yeah.
let's dive into that. How important is it to have a partner that supports you
Mm,
throughout this journey?
I wouldn't have been able to take the risk that I've taken. A lot of what you see on social media, I truly believe it would have took a little bit longer or would not have happened, had he not been there to support,
Mm,
right? I've been able to take cuts in jobs, 30,000 less and all this kind of crazy stuff and go work at places that wasn't really bringing in nothing, but we never went without, thank you, Lord. Um, because he said yes,
mm,
right? Because he allowed me to dream.
yeah.
And so I think it's so important to find a partner, spouse, whatever that may look like, that allows you to continue to dream and supports it. And he's been all of that for me. He's not one that wants to be in the spotlight. He's not one that like he's good with being the arm candy, okay?
Yeah.
He like, I'll sit back over here, you do your thing. And so I'm just grateful to have him. And, I definitely can say that I've taken him for granted at times, but he's an amazing man, and I'm grateful to be able to say, that that's my dude. That's my
Yeah.
man. That's my man, my man,
My
my
man,
man,
my
my
man, my
man.
man. So it's safe to say that he's your safe
Yeah,
space,
most definitely.
right? He's your safe
Most
space.
definitely.
Um, and I think that's the perfect segue into kind of talking about how like you have become a safe space for so many
Mm,
people in the
okay.
community. Hey, so you better stop it. It's the truth, right? We're here. Like that's just what it is. You truly have. Especially when we talk about, you being so in tune with the community and what's happening. We talked about in the intro, your social justice initiatives and trying to make sure that you are pouring into the people who poured into you. I feel like that's
Yeah.
very important
Yeah.
for you. And you've really put that on a pedestal. Like
Mhm.
you've really given time to that. It's not something that's a footnote
Yeah.
for you, right? So I wanted to ask you, what does it feel like to be that safe space for so many people
Mm,
while also trying to maintain that safe space for yourself, right? Because
mm.
there's a balance.
Yeah.
There's a balance. There's a give and a take.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
Man, I was listening to Sheila Johnson, the book that she wrote on audio on the way here. This is my second time listening to it. And one of the things that she says is that, she has been through the fire and she
Mm,
wanted to be basically an example to others about, how you can get through the fire too, right? And that's what it is for me. I've been through the fire. Like a lot of people don't know all of the story, but I've been through some things that probably would have rocked some people, took some people out, that some don't know. And I just want to be an example of even when you go through the hardest of days, it's just a temporary moment.
mm,
It's just a temporary moment. And don't turn a temporary moment into something that's permanent. And so I have not allowed what has happened to me and what I've been through to dictate the outcome. I always want to make sure that what I give to people is all of me, right? Because there's been so many people that have poured into me, that have loved on me, and I want to give that back. And so I've been through the fire, but I want to be able to show people, like I said, the roadmap of getting through it and
mhm.
that anything is possible. Again, if you believe in yourself, and if you just keep going. Like
Yeah.
anything is possible. And so, for me, it's important to be able to give back because so many people poured into me. And I
Yeah.
want to be just a little bit of an example of to others of you can do this too,
Yeah.
regardless of what you've been through. So,
Yeah. Naturally, when that happens, when you kind of step into leadership roles, when you're seen as a community leader, which you are, whether
mm,
you know that or not, um, there tends to be a moment where you kind of come to a point where you're like, okay, I'm giving, giving, giving.
mm,
And do you ever ask yourself, like, what am I receiving from
mm,
this? Do you ever feel like there's a moment where you're giving more than what you're getting back, particularly from the community,
yeah,
right? Because it's not always, oh, Lacretia is great. We love her
yeah,
and sing her praises, right? So like,
no,
are there ever those moments where you're like, man, like this is it's rough right now?
yeah. If I worry about that, then I'm doing it for the wrong reason,
Mm,
right? I would be lying to you to say, does it hurt? Most definitely. If I said it didn't hurt, I'm almost definitely. Um, I would be lying to you if I said that it doesn't hit me in a different way when some of the closest people that I expect to support and love me and
yeah.
cheer me on ain't doing that, right? I would be lying to you if I said that when people, you share something and everybody go ghost, that it don't, kind of
Mm-hmm.
bother me, right? But the reality is I'm not doing it for them, right? There's one out there that God has me living this life for that I'm supposed to touch, and that's what I do it for.
Mm,
And so I can't allow what people ain't doing, ain't saying, all of the kind of things to bother me or affect me again. Yes, sometimes it hits a little bit different, but I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? It ain't for them.
yeah, that's
It
true.
ain't for them.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. I'ma just say this. If you have a problem with me, then it's something that is unhealed in you.
Mm,
Because I have never, and I say this all the time, I am very careful on how I move in these streets. I'm very careful on how I speak in these streets. And I'm just not somebody that is bashing. I don't do that. I don't
yeah.
bash other people's name or
Mm-hmm.
who they are. That's just not me, right? And so it's funny when I hear people saying, "Oh, well, I heard they said." Well, did you go and
Mm-hmm.
ask the source?
Right.
Did you
Right.
talk to that person to find out if that really happened versus going
Mm-hmm.
to Blow Joe and John
Mm-hmm.
and Sally on the street and
Right.
talking about what happened? Did you actually go to that person and ask them what happened? And so for me, anybody, when I see people not talking to me or whatever the case may be, or not supporting or whatever, all you can do is crazy. All I can do is pray for you,
Mm-hmm.
wish you the best. I'm still gonna cheer you on, still gonna hope that you win, right? But it's something that's unhealed in them. It's
Yeah.
not a me thing, it's a them thing. And
Yeah.
so that's how I have to look at it.
You heard it here first. It's not her, it's you. No, but really. No,
And
but
that
that's a good way to think about it
yeah.
though, because honestly, when you are a person who has very good intentions,
Mhm.
and I'm always a person who preaches intention versus impact,
Yeah.
right? The intention that you have is not always the impact that you have, but when
Hmm.
you're a person who truly is out here just trying to do the best that you can and do the best for the people in your community, you do kind of have to take that stance of
Mhm.
like, I cannot be responsible for everybody's feelings all the
Right.
time.
Cannot.
Like that in itself is a lesson.
Cannot.
That even I had to teach myself of just like, you can't make everybody happy
Mhm.
all the time. Now, on the flip side, you have those people who are always rah rah and they're never going to be happy regardless of what you do.
Right.
Like
Right.
that's just the reality of the situation. But then you also have the other side of the spectrum where you have people who I like to call my performative supporters. They clap for you in public, right?
Mhm.
They clap for you in public, but that's not always the case behind closed doors. That's
Yeah.
not always the case when conversations are being had. or I mean, even the relationship that you may have with them on a
Yeah.
personal level,
Yeah.
right? So, can you think of a time, and you don't have to be super specific about like who it
Mhm.
was, but tell us about a time where the performative support stung just a little bit more or even more than criticism? Because
Mm.
that happens a lot. People want to be with you when you're at the mountaintop,
Man,
but then when you're in the valley, it's like, what happened?
all Imma say is I think we can both, think of a situation of the performative.
Listen, it's a we're here. We're here.
Okay, that's all Imma say. Um, you know, at the end of the day, like, this is the thing, I cannot harp on those situations and those people because I truly believe it is coming from a place that is unhealed within them,
Yeah.
right? Or insecurity within them.
Mhm.
I can't fix that for you, baby. I
Right.
would love to. I wish I could, but I can't.
Mhm.
And so at the end of the day, all I can do again is not worry about that and just worry about why I'm here doing what I'm doing and make sure that the mission gets accomplished because
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for them.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm not doing it for you. Okay? And so, I I can think of a lot of moments, but it's one of those things where I just, I wish them the best. I really do, and I see it for what it is. And so I know it, and I say this all the time, and people probably think I'm weird. My gift of discernment, like knowing who's for me and who ain't for me,
Mm.
and when you come into my space, like I energy is everything for me. And so I typically can tell what you bring in your intentions,
Yeah.
right? When you come into my path. And so that's why I don't hang with a lot of people. That's why I don't go out and do a lot of things. Just because it's not too many people.
Yeah.
Just to be honest, that I could say, oh, they're genuine or
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. And so I'm just very careful about my peace, about my energy, about my space, and just knowing that again, there's something that I am supposed to accomplish and I don't got time for the foolery. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Do you feel like that's kind of been your strategy for guarding your heart with
Mhm.
being in the public eye? And if you could kind of lean into like what advice would you give someone who is struggling with that same thing of like, I feel like I don't have the support that I have, or they're worried about who's
Mm,
supporting them and who's not. Like, what are some like concrete tips and some advice that you can give them for
yeah.
guarding their heart, their space in this moment? Like, I know that you lean heavily into like what God has led you to do,
Mhm.
and you talked about discernment.
Mhm.
Um, but for someone who's watching this right now at home or listening to it, like, what are some tangible steps that they can take to
Yeah.
get there too?
Imma say this, number 1, you don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to say yes to doing or going, every place, and so I'm very intentional about that. Like, I don't just go and I don't just do. And if I do, I'm not staying long.
Hmm.
And I've been very intentional about that probably over the last 6 months for sure, just as the podcast has done what it's done and, just kinda realizing, like, I can't be and do and be in every space that I'm asked to go to.
Yes.
And it's nothing again, it's nothing. I think people take it as if she don't come, she, don't like this
Right.
person or
It's
what.
nothing
It's not that. I
personal.
have to protect my peace. I
Yeah.
have triggers as well. And
Mhm.
so I have to protect all of that. And so I'm very careful on that. And so I just tell anybody out there, just be careful with where you're going, what you're saying yes to. That's number one. And then, just making sure that you take time for yourself. This is something that I struggle with even today. Like self care, I may go get my nails done, but
Yeah.
that's about it. But just finding time for yourself, whether that's, just reading a book in your tub, going to a bookstore and reading, like whatever that may look like for you, watching Netflix, whatever, making sure that you're taking time for yourself. But those are just a few things that I do. And then I surround myself around my family. right? Around people that I know genuinely love me. I can be my full self, ain't gonna
Yeah.
get judged, like none of that. Like they get all of me and the crazy me and the loud me and everything. And so those are probably the biggest things. And so find what gives you peace and tap into that for sure.
Yeah. I have gotten a lot of pieces of advice
Mhm.
from watching the
Mhm.
podcast. Um, and it's so funny. I was kind of reviewing a couple episodes before this, and my husband was like, "Oh, I didn't even know that about such and such that you were interviewing." I'm like, "See, you're learning something already." But I think it impacts a lot more people than you probably are
Mm,
aware of, and it's touching a lot of people
mm.
that you may not know about. But I'm curious to know because we haven't really gotten into this yet in the conversation. But what was the moment that made you create the real room? Not logistics, right? Like, but what was the heart reason? Like, what was the
Mm.
moment where you were like, I need to do this?
Let me be honest, for years, I've been like praying on Lord, how are we going to disseminate what you are putting in me? I
Mm,
just got to be honest about it, okay? And I was like, okay, it's not a book. It's not, I just love telling stories. That's number one. I love telling stories. I love helping people to tell their story, right? So I was like, okay, how are we going to do this? And finally in 2023, it was podcast. And I'm like, okay, podcast.
mm-hmm,
Had a contract with Notice Studio, shout out to them, to do a real estate show. And so we had started that process. And I was like, okay, I want to kind of break off from real estate and, kind of do just have a
mm-hmm,
creative outlet and be able to help people share their stories and highlight, just people in the city and all these kind of things. And so I did the very first podcast with my parents and I knew, okay, this is it.
mm-hmm.
Like, this is my thing. And they were the very first one, just audio, it wasn't visual. And so the amount of feedback that I got from that, not just people that look like me, but other people who it impacted, I was like, okay, I know that this is the route that I need to take. And so that happened in the end of 2023. And then I met Taylor end of last year, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's about to start back up. But it's always been about people being able to share their story and what they've been through, hopefully helping the one, right?
Mm,
To be able to see that, okay, if they can do this, if they can make it out of, or they can succeed in this way, then so can I. And so giving them basically a roadmap to success is what it's been about. And so here's the podcast. Yeah, it's here.
yeah.
The real room.
And that it has truly done. It's
Yeah.
truly been a space where people can come
Yeah.
and tell their stories, be honest, be raw.
Yeah.
There's so many times that I've, been watching and you get emotionally involved
Yeah.
in the story
Yeah.
that's being told. And not even just, I feel like with your guests, but you do that also, just in the way that you move about the community and
Mhm.
everything. So what would you say is one thing that people don't necessarily know about the OKC community, your community,
Mm.
that you would like to highlight on the podcast? Because there's, you have people on here every week, but what's the broader picture that you're trying to portray?
Hmm. That's a great question. Ooh. Um, Broader picture. Honestly, that Oklahoma has so much talent
Mm-hmm.
from all walks of life. And it doesn't matter if you're purple, brown, yellow, green, white, black, whatever. Like, we all have some similar stories. There's always like a common thread in everybody's story, right? And so I just want to make sure that Oklahoma gets seen, that people understand that there's so much talent here, because I feel like we get overlooked a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? We got the Oklahoma City Thunder now, right?
Yeah.
Woo woo, we NBA champions,
Champion.
But the reality is we have some legends here. We have some goats, we have some shakers and some movers. And there's a lot that goes on here. And Oklahoma is just not cowboys and, horses and
Tumbleweeds.
tumbleweeds. No. We're growing
Yeah,
and there is so much opportunity here, but you can get stuck here if you allow yourself to get stuck here.
it's a
And
mindset.
so I want to be able to show people that there are some amazing people here doing some amazing things, and you can too. And you may be even the one that takes it to a whole nother level. So, yeah.
Listen, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So when you strip away, the titles, the podcast, Ellen Realty Firm,
Mhm.
the titles you have as mom, wife, let's set all that to the side. Community
Mhm.
leader. Who is Lacretia?
Yeah, she did a me on me.
Who is she?
Oh, man, who am I? Simple, a little extra sometimes. Um, I'm just a yeah, I'm just a woman who has always had big dreams. And at one point I allowed myself to stop dreaming.
Mm,
Um, but now that I am dreaming again, I know that there is so much more that's coming, and I'm excited about it. Like I'm just excited about being who I am. I love me. I love the simplicity of me. I love the extraness of me. I love, the loudness of me. Like I just love just being who I am as a woman, and that's just real. That's all, just a lover. I
yeah.
love all people. And I don't ever want people to see what they see on social media and think, that they can't ever um uh, engage or reach out to me. Like I don't care how big I get, like I'm always going to want to reach back. I'm always going to want to help people. And so just naturally I'm a server. Like I love serving people. And so I don't know. I mean, that's a hard question to answer, honestly. Like I'm just me, y'all. I'm real simple. Some of my family will tell you I'm bougie as all get out.
And that's
But I
okay.
listen,
And that's
I
okay.
I do like the finer things in life too, right? But you probably won't see me carry a designer purse. You probably won't see me wearing red bottoms. Like that's
Mhm.
just I'll take a Target outfit, although we're not shopping at Target right now. I'm joking. I Listen, but I'll take a simple outfit and make it look like it's something. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
I just don't ever want anybody to get the impression that she thinks she's all that, because I really don't.
Mhm.
I do know that I'm all that because I am whose I am,
Yeah.
but I don't carry myself in that manner,
Mhm.
right? Just to be completely honest with you. So anyway, I'm just me. I'm just real. I'm a lover. I love serving people. And at the end of the day, I just want people to see just, that I'm willing to help and reach back to anybody. So
Yeah. I feel like even in all this, we could, talk about this for hours and hours, but we are gonna wrap it up a little bit. You
I
survived.
survived,
You
y'all.
survived the podcast
Listen.
takeover,
Whew,
and you did a great
goodness.
job.
Oh
You did a
God.
great
Okay.
job being in the hot seat.
Yeah.
And so if you are at home right now and you liked what you heard, you liked what you have seen, you've enjoyed the story and enjoyed getting to know Lucretia a little bit more, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, tell someone that you know about this podcast, and spread the word because we need to continue to grow. We need more stories to be told. And much like what Lucretia has told us today, sometimes it's the unplanned path that leads us directly where we need to be. So, in this next week, I want you to think about, where is God leading you? Where do you need to be? And how can you make an impact? This has been the Real Room Podcast. Thank you for watching.
Good job!
Thank you.
Dang! First of all, ma'am, kudos to you.
Oh, thank
Kudos.
you.
Like, just the way the questions and the way that you ad lib, everything was amazing.
Okay,
So if you
good.
ever like have a opportunity to podcast, communicate, like anything, you would be amazing. And
Thank
I just think you
you.
listen 2 days and you put this together. And so I'm
Thanks.
super proud of you. And I want you to know this is my love to you. I see you. And I know it is hard. I know sometimes you get that performative thing going on, right? And I know it can be hard because a lot of times we want people to say, "Hey, I see you. I love you.
Yeah,
I keep going, whatever." And we don't get that. I know. And so just know that it's hard. I
girl.
get it, but remember why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Remember why you're doing it and keep going, Simone.
I was not supposed to be getting emotional
I
doing this.
know, but listen, keep going because you have something special, and I've seen this since the very beginning. And so
Thank
I don't
you.
ever want you to doubt what God is doing in you. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to see you. So,
Thank you. And I feel the same way about you. Um, First of all, I appreciate you even thinking of me for this
yeah.
opportunity. When you text me, I was like, "Oh my God." It's like, this is a big deal. Like, this is her baby.
Yeah.
Like, this
Yeah.
is not, something small. And so to know that you think so highly of me
Yeah.
has been, I just been reflecting on it. I
Yeah.
just been reflecting on it. And like you said, there is a lot of performative support, but one of the things that I can say, you have always been
Yeah.
supportive of me.
Yeah.
And when I say there have been moments,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it was God speaking to your heart or what, but moments where I was just down and out,
Yeah.
and I would get a random text message from you, "Hey sis," and I'm like,
How she know, Lord?
how does she know? How does
Yeah.
she know? So there have been those moments where you have like reached out at the right moment. And you know me, I don't say a whole lot.
Yeah.
I don't do a whole lot. I'm kind
Yeah.
of like you. I'm not in a
Yeah.
lot of different
Yeah.
places. Um, but the small things like that really matter
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Like, the small things like that truly touch my heart. And
Yeah.
I'm like, those are the people that are important,
Yeah.
in your life. Like the
Yeah.
people who are going to check on you when you feel like you're alone,
Yep.
right? Because a lot of days I'm like, honey, it's me, my husband, and my
Yeah.
dog. Like,
Yep.
me, my husband, and my dog. But just to know that you like have that support. And I feel like you probably don't even know this, but like there have been a couple times where like we've been in mutual spaces, or I knew that you were going to be in a space. And I'm
Mm.
like, okay, I can go because I know Creed's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
comfort of
Yeah.
knowing that there's someone there that's
Yeah.
for you. You know
Most
what I mean?
definitely.
So I appreciate you being that person
Yeah.
for me. And again, I don't even know if you knew it, because I feel like, our journey of like getting to where we are, it's been a few years now.
Yeah.
It's been a few years now. And I feel like even though we're not, in constant contact, it's
Mhm.
been one of those things where it's like when we are in contact, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so filling to the soul.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you
Well,
so
you just
much.
know I'm always gonna support you, rock with you. I got you, and so I couldn't think of anybody better to do this than you. And so I
Thank
just thank
you.
you for saying yes.
Hope I
And
made you proud.
you did. You did. Come on.